I want to teach you today my 5-part framework for identifying where you might need to change course inside your business if you're not getting the results that you want. Okay. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. We've been talking a lot. So if you haven't been here, you can go back here pretty soon. All these episodes from Mondays are going to be on the podcast. So you can be able to go back and listen in order for what I've been teaching. And what we've been doing is clearing your runway. So let me explain that. You have this plane that you want to land, which is your success, your income goals, your, whatever financial life goals that you have in your business. And you have this runway that's littered with garbage, with baggage. And if you do not clear the baggage first, then you are going to struggle. So just visualize, you've got this plane of abundance that wants to land, and this plane of abundance is coming at you, but yet the runway to land the plane is full of bags. It's full of baggage. And so there's no place for the plane to land. So what we've been doing is clearing out the baggage, getting you emotionally in a space where you're ready to receive all the abundance that's coming to you. Now, when we're trying to create the abundance, when we're trying to create all this stuff inside of our business, we also are going to find some different ways that we're going to get stopped up. And that's what I'm going to teach you today is my 5-part framework for how I have assessed and moved forward inside my business to get to that $1 million mark. Whatever your mark is, it doesn't have to be $1 million. I didn't shoot for that. It just happened because of the steps that I was taking to get there. Now, on a macro level, after I teach you this 5-step framework, now macro inside of that is going to be, you also have to have the skills and the tools that you're going to need to say the words and do the things to run your business. Okay. So there's the layers that we have inside here. So let's just get this up here. Let's start. So inside the 5-part framework to make it to $1 million, right? The base or foundation is clarity. Now, clarity first has come in, what's your intention? What do you really want? We talk about our why all the time. Why do we want to do it? Or why are we searching for this? But also, what's our intention behind it? Okay. Now, I want to tell you something. Your why may change. Your intention may change, but your why first may change. I just started reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. If you haven't yet read that book, great book. It's a great audiobook to listen to. It's been suggested to me for the last, 5 years by Brendan, and I never listened and I didn't read it, and maybe it wasn't time. I don't know. But it was time for me to read it. So I pulled that out because the thing is, with all the life changes that you have, when there's a shift, if we have attached our why to a specific thing, which we do, and that's great, and that's fine, that's what we do. But then when that thing shifts, now you've lost your why. So the best example is for example, when I was making the $1 million, I was attached to making all the money, but from a different place. I was doing it for my family. I was doing it for these people outside of me, which is fine. However, when all those people disappear, then what? Then why go make the money? It's just me. So now the meaning behind what I'm doing disappears. And now I don't have the motivation. So you watch reels and TikToks and all the things, and it's so much more about motivation. But you have to understand that your why may shift and you have to recalibrate that. That's the clarity piece that we're looking for. Okay. That's always back to the foundation is, do you have clarity in that? So a great book is Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Really great short read. Okay. And when I'm teaching you, when I tell you this is how I get to $1 million, it's gross commission income. Yes, that's gross commission income. Okay, so clarity. So when you also are in clarity, you're also setting your intention for what you want. So you know why you want, or why attached to your why, but also setting intention for how you're going to get there. setting your intention for the energy behind it, that all comes in that clarity piece too. Okay. So if you feel like you're floating out in the abyss, first you go back to, do I have clarity in what I'm doing and why I'm doing it? Okay. The next part of the framework is your drive. Are you lacking drive? Drive can be energy. Drive can be, I may be lacking the skills that I need to be able to move me forward. So I'm lacking drive, but it's because I don't have what I need to actually put what my intention and what my why is into play, right? So we go from here and then you want to go drive, but if you don't know what you're driving or why, then your drive is going to be low. You can't just get out and drive if you have no place that you're going. You can, but you'll completely feel unfulfilled, right? You'll never feel like you've never achieved, you've never gotten there. Okay. So that's your drive. Once you have that piece into place, and your drive, you guys, can come from so many different factors, but the things that can drive you, if you're missing that forward momentum, ask yourself, is it because I don't feel good? And so maybe inside of what I'm doing, I need to take better care of myself. So self can be a driver, but self can also be a hindrance if we are not in the right space, if you're not in the healthy space, if you're not creating the energy that you need every single day. That's going to come inside your drive. The other part is in your skill set. You can want and dream and have clarity all day long, but if you're missing the skills to skill up and reach it, you're not going to make it. And that's going to change too, because as you continue to level up, you go for higher priced properties, different areas, or something changes and you move. So now you're in a completely different area. You have to reestablish, or maybe the market shifts. Now we have to have new skills because the market shifts. This is a constant evolution of the drivers behind what you're doing. It's a constant evolution. This is why always having a coach is important, because nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. The market doesn't stay the same and you don't stay the same. So now we have all these factors that are moving around and you have to be able to go pivot, adapt, change, right? Implement, go. And that's never going to come from sitting at home, reciting mantras, trying to tell yourself you're supposed to be motivated. Very difficult to do. Okay. So drive from yourself, from your skills. Now we have effort. We have effort. Are you lacking in effort? Are you really, if I followed you around, you told me your goals, I knew what your goals were, and then I followed you around for a week, even a day, would your actions match what your goals are? Okay, I'm getting some head nods no. If they don't, you have an incongruence. You are not aligned. Go back to the beginning. Go back to your foundation. Find your clarity. Set your intention. If you aren't putting forth the effort, you may still have some baggage that you need to clear. Maybe new baggage that came up because you just elevated yourself to a new level. So now you created or were exposed to another way for you to grow. So now it's time to do a little bit of growth work, and then you jump back in. This is a cycle. This is how you continue to achieve greater and greater and greater success. It's not because you got there once and you stay there. It's because you get there, and then it's not that you bounce back down. It's that, I'm going to flip over here. It's the ascension. Right? It's the ascension. It's that you grow and then you fall down into what's called the pit, to where you maybe have that down, not depressed time, but you have that time when things didn't go right and you feel like you're not doing it right and you feel frustrated. And then you learn and you grow and then you ascend back up to a higher, not even back up, you ascend to a higher point than you were before. But you do that with those extra skills. You do that with the clarity, you do that with setting your intention, then you're going to get up to this higher point that you've never reached before, which is different than being stagnant and getting back to, right? If we're here, we fall down into the pit and then we just get back to our homeostasis. If you just keep getting back to your homeostasis, you're never ascending to higher levels. So your effort, tap into your effort. If you're having a hard time putting forth the effort, if I'm following you around and you are not aligned with what you're saying your goals and your intention is that you set, then go back to setting your intention and how you want to show up for the day. Go back to there. And you should be setting your intention every single day. What's my intention for today? What's my intention for today? I'll tell you, I just got done with my daughter's wedding. And to prep for the wedding, I did two things. Okay. First, I made a list, and I have a coach. We all need coaches. But I made a list of all of the key players at the wedding. All the key players, including my ex-husband. And then I set my intention for each of them. So that when I was interacting with them, I had already pre-decided, I had already set that intention for how I wanted to show up, how I wanted to help them to feel, or how I wanted to bring, what energy I wanted to bring to the room. Okay. So what's so amazing and interesting about that? So that's the first thing I did. The second thing that I did was I went to a rage room the night before because I had a lot of anger that I had just inside of me. I wasn't expressing, that nobody else needed to know about or hear about, but it still was bottled up inside of me. And I needed to go into this wedding very clear. I had baggage that I needed to clear out in the form of emotions. So I went to the rage room with a friend, beat the crap out of a bunch of stuff, and felt 17 minutes, you guys. It's a whole nother conversation I'll tell you another day, maybe next week. But 17 minutes, I walked out of there and I was like a clean slate. I felt so amazing. So amazing. The next day, when I woke up for the wedding, and mind you, this is the first time like I'm divorced, right? So we have that whole thing going on at the wedding now. So I woke up, I felt great. I went for my walk, did my 3-mile walk, got ready, had a wonderful morning with my girls getting ready, had an amazing time at the wedding. I showed up the way I intended to. I revisited my intentions before I walked in, and I had high energy all day long. And I'm not saying high energy like ADD. I'm just saying I had positive vibration all day long, 6 to 10 on the emotional scale, all day. I didn't even go to sleep when I came home. It was 10:30 when we finally got home, and I wasn't even exhausted. I was still riding that high emotional vibrational scale. And every interaction I had was amazing. It was amazing. I had a great time. I don't know about them. They're in charge of their own emotions and their feelings, but I had a great time, and I showed up the way that I needed to show up to have an amazing time. What was really interesting is, as I kind of debriefed myself, I never set an intention for my daughter's mother-in-law. So when I interacted with her, that's actually the only one time I didn't stay in high vibration. Are you a real estate agent and you got in this business to help people, but yet you're trying everything and it's not working, and all you wanted to do was serve people? If you are a heart-centered realtor and you want to have a thriving real estate business, but you're not sure where to go, what to do, and you keep trying all the gadgets and shiny things in different ways, and all you're doing is spending a lot of money and spinning your wheels, then I've got the solution for you. It is the High Profit Agent Fix. Inside the High Profit Agent Fix, it is a complete business plan, start to finish, and everything in between. The words you say, what you do, to have clients flocking to you, staying with you, so you build a repeatable business full of referral clients and repeat clients. That's what everybody wants, so that you stop having to pay for advertising and you start serving, which is what you got in this business to do in the first place. If this sounds like you, then this is a solution. Go to highprofitagentfix.com and sign up today to get the solution to what you really want, which is to serve and to make money and to make the impact that you want and support your family and do it all from a loving, wonderful, exciting, happy place, because it gets to be joyful. It doesn't get to be frustrating. It actually gets to be joyful. If that's not what you're experiencing, step on up to High Profit Agent Fix, because that's what you get to experience with me in the High Profit Agent Fix. Because somebody didn't buy the plates. It was a whole thing. And I was like, where's the plates? I didn't show up as my best self 100% like I did with everybody else. And I thought about that this morning on my walk. And I was like, I did not set an intention with his parents. So I didn't show up the way that I could have in my best self. It was like black and white in my face, you guys. Best experience I've had because of the difference between the people I interacted with when I set my intention and the people that I didn't set my intention with, and how that affected my energy and how I showed up. So when we talk about our effort, set your intention every morning for what you want for that day, how you want to show up for that day. You have your list of to-dos. You know what you have on the list. Everybody does, whether it's going to make phone calls, prospecting, right? Doing open houses, calling past clients, sending out your mailers, whatever it is that you're going to do. If you don't find your energy going into that, then you probably didn't set your intention that you wanted to have amazing energy and why you were doing these things and the people that you were going to reach and the message you wanted to bring to them. When we're prospecting, that makes all the difference, because if you're prospecting because you just have to make phone calls and you're trying to make a sale and you need the money, that looks a lot different than if you're going to call somebody for sale by owner or expired as an example, because this person really could use their help. And your intention is, I really want to find the person or persons today, as many people as I can, who really need my help. You put that vibration out there, that's who you attract, because that's the way that you show up. And if we don't do that, then all you're doing is making sales phone calls and you don't like selling yourself. And you feel inferior. And that vibration is low vibration. Okay? That's low vibration. Okay, so that's your effort. Then, and these are in specific order. Then we move to assessment. End of the day, or multiple times throughout the day. You need to assess what's going on. How are you doing? How are you performing? Are the activities that you're doing aligning with the goals that you have? Are they time wasters? Are they did you have the intention that you've set? But then this is like inside the list of your day to day. Or it's in what you just performed on. You just did an open house. How were your conversations? How did you show up for those people? How did they receive you? This is not a time. This is usually when people like to look at themselves and say all the things that they do wrong and why it's not working. And what I'm saying is assessment to high achievers is the most amazing thing, because you assess yourself and there's no self-judgment when you do the assessment. You can assess and go, man, I did not show up great with my, whatever, my daughter's mother-in-law when she didn't bring the plates. Good assessment, Lisa. I probably should send her a card. My face it probably looked like an RBF. It probably did not look great at the moment, right? My words didn't say it. I think my face did. It probably really did. So we have to assess though, and then that helps you to grow. That helps you go, oh, next time, this is what I need to do. There's no judgment. Yes, I can apologize. Do I have to apologize? No, but I want to apologize for myself. And that's who I am. That's how I behave. That's the type of person I'm. That's my character. When you assess yourself, you're just like, what could have gone differently, better? How did it go? But looking at yourself from that just like you're filling out a chart, right? Just like you fill out a chart of the doctor. So easy. And then it's not, oh my gosh, I didn't do good at this. If you catch yourself doing that, that's putting yourself down. And when you put yourself down, you're never going to rise higher. You are creating your own ceiling that you are bumping up against. And you are never going to be able to reach new levels. So there doesn't need to be self-judgment. And if there's self-judgment, you better ask yourself, why am I self-judging? Why do I feel like I need to tell myself I'm not doing good? Because that's not going to do anything for you. It's going to slow down your progress. That's in the pit. Okay? That's in the pit. The assessment also is, am I repeating the same behaviors? Am I doing the same thing over and over and over again? Is this happening often? Really good to be aware of. If you have the same fight with your spouse on multiple occasions, you're not clearing up what you're fighting about or why. So you're actually not making progress, you're just recycling. Same thing goes for, okay, am I not making progress in my business? Am I doing the same behaviors? I'm just recycling. That's not growth. That means there's something inside of that that you need to grow from in order to clear out that baggage so you can receive the plan. And that leads us right here into this. The heart of it all is the emotional control piece. If we don't have or practice healthy emotional control, then it's going to be real hard to accomplish any of these other drivers. If we're flying off the handle, or if we're not regulated, you're not going to be able to accomplish all these things. Okay, so if you look at this in a cycle, you get your intention, you have clarity over what you want, you skill up, right? Skill up. Find what you need and skill up. There is a solution for every problem. A solution for every problem. There's multiple solutions. And if one didn't work, you go find another one. You skill up and you figure it out. That has to do with homes as well. And that's a great pitch, by the way, to your listings. When they're like, but what if it doesn't work? What if the house doesn't sell? You know what you say? Every house sells. I just find why or how. Every house sells. Every property sells. Everything can sell. I use that line, and it's not a line because it's true, but that is a marketing line that I use with my clients all the time. Because they feel not comfortable, and you're here to provide comfort for them and security. You're steering the ship. If you show up and you don't have clarity over what's happening and your intention with the client, and then they start to feel uncomfortable, you can't steer the ship, you can't make them feel comfortable, and then they're going to bail. So in your assessment piece, if you have multiple people bailing, that's something to look at. That means you're not very convincing, which means you're not convinced yourself. We can only show up for other people to the best of how we show up for ourselves. I'll say that again. You can only show up for someone else the best way that you can show up for yourself. So if you show up with doubt and fear and anxiety, guess what radiates from your body? Right there onto your client. Doubt and fear and anxiety. So you want to know how I can make $1 million a year? Last week we had 6 new listings come in. I did nothing, by the way. I don't advertise. I don't really want the business. And I had 6 new listings in the last week and a half. And it's about $150,000 worth of commission with all those listings that just popped up. And the only reason why that continues to happen is because I don't show up with doubt and fear and anxiety. That's my sales secret. It was the more personal development I did, the better and higher vibration I brought to the table, the more I skilled up and could come with confidence to tell the clients everything's going to be fine and I will take care of you. That is what sinks them in the corner pocket. Every single time. I just tested it again last Thursday. Have a client, they want to build, they want to put their house up for sale. So they have a $750,000 house to put up for sale, and they want to build on an $800,000 build package on my land. So there's a lot of key factors here. I'm going to make $300,000 off the land. I'll make a commission off of the build, and I'll make a commission off of their sale. It's a lot of money on the line, right? So the client comes to me, and I've been going through the process, and I was a little distracted. I did not set my intention with my client, right? I did not set my intention with my client very well. I was just going through the motions. And then what started to happen is I was lacking in my skills because they weren't feeling very comfortable. And they started to get a little freaked out. Well, how do we sell our house? And how do we build at the same time? And, all these things. And even though I'm giving them the information, I really wasn't spending the time I needed to with them for them to feel comfortable. And they almost bailed. And so he calls me one day and he says, I don't know about this. Like, I'm old school. He's an older guy. He goes, I'm old school. And I need to sit with the builder. I need to figure out, like, he wanted tangibly to know what was going to happen, where we were going with everything. He couldn't just take lip service. So I was like, okay. And I just told him, you know what? This is so good to know where you're at, where you're coming from, what your needs are. I said, this process works differently with different people. Now I know what your process is. So let's make that happen. This is the way you need to receive information. Thank you for letting me know that. Thank you for explaining that to me. I will now make that happen. So we got a meeting with the builder on Thursday, sat down, went over the plans. He had all of his questions answered. He was very happy. He's like, okay, game, I'm in. And then we had his house listed on Friday. That is not something that you're just going to YouTube. That's something that comes from within you and from being aware and emotionally in control and aware of the emotions of your client. This is so much more of an emotional game than you guys ever know. It is such an emotional game. This is the biggest purchase anyone ever makes in their entire life. It is freaking them out. So if you willy-nilly just show up and you just try to move them through this sales process stuff, right? If you just try to do that, you're going to lose them because you're not digging into their emotional needs that they have through the process. When you dig into the emotional needs, then they will attach to you. They bond with you. And then they always come back to you. This client, I sold him his house 8.5 years ago. 8.5 years ago. And do you want to know why he called me back? Because I send him gifts 3 times a year. And I give him his value every month. He gets the marketing email with the value of his property. That's it. I haven't seen him around town. I haven't had any other conversations with him. Literally 7.5 years later is another $50,000 worth of commission. That's the type of business that you want to build. So where might you need to level up in order to run a business that feels amazing? That's for you to decide. That's for you to journal on today.
Hey, real estate agents, start your week with momentum. Momentum Monday is your free 30-minute power session to ignite your week, sharpen your focus, and elevate your results. Every Monday, you can join a community of high-performing agents who refuse to coast and choose to lead with intention. In just 30 minutes, you will set crystal clear intentions to dominate your week, and you'll learn high-energy strategies that create immediate wins for you. This is not another meeting, it's an intentional strategy session to refocus, recharge, and reignite your drive before the week runs away from you. Whether you're closing deals, generating new leads, or scaling your business, Momentum Monday gives you the clarity, confidence, and community to make it happen. Shake it up, do something new. Start your Monday with momentum. Click below to join for free and experience the results for yourself. I'll see you on the inside.